much for being here.
Oh my goodness, thank you. Hello.
You know, it's so interesting because I think about these things now because I'm making films as well, but we see like really cool little 25-second or like 1 minute kind of funny sequences in St. Denis Medical. And it's funny to think about that maybe those scenes maybe took an hour to film and everything. Is that interesting to think about sometimes? You know what I mean? When you see the final cut?
I always love to tell people stuff like that when to tell them the timing of the way that things work, and whenever I have my family's come to visit me on a set or a friend has come to visit me on the set, they're like, oh, we're going to spend the day with you. And I'm like, no, you're going to want to be there for 2 hours. And then you're going to want to leave because it is actually pretty tedious work. It takes us a long time to shoot a 1 minute scene.
Absolutely. It's interesting, right? Because the workplace comedy is interesting because you really have the banter and you focus on the work and the tasks at hand, and especially with the hospital, the patients. But then we learn about the backstories and interests outside of work of these characters as well. What's that like reading the balance of that in the scripts and then seeing that come to life on screen? Because I find that very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think our writers do such a good job of fleshing things out so that all of these characters are really unique. They have their own unique foibles, the things that drive them, and then we get to toss them all into a bucket together and shake it around and mix it up and put them in different situations. So,
Yep.
I mean, I think that starts in the writers' room. We have such a strong group of writers who really prioritize making these seem like real people, as insane as they can be sometimes.
Absolutely. And speaking of insane, I mean, they usually tell you not to look at the camera when you work on a show, right? And I feel
Yeah.
like the breaking the fourth wall is interesting. I mean, do you think about that when you sign on to a show like this, knowing because of, past shows as well and that kind of workplace comedy, they do break in the wall, that mockumentary style. Do you think about that at all a lot? Or do you think about that a lot
certainly.
when you really get there?
No, I certainly thought about it. I've always wanted to do a mockumentary style show. I've long been a fan. I love The British Office. I love Christopher Guest movies. I've always loved this exact style. I like the talking heads as a sort of way to further a story. So, I mean, I wasn't holding my breath for one to come along, but when this script came along, I was like, oh, it is my dream. I've always wanted to make a show like this. And it's as much fun as it seems like it would be. It's really a blast.
How many is the consistency of someone breaking, whether it's a cameraman or a cast member or something? Is it consistent? Are there some days where it's just like, wow, we're on to something today? There's a lot more, or is it overall consistent? Would you say? I feel like there's always going to be a break.
We don't break that much, honestly.
I'm impressed.
Which is awesome.
It's impressive.
We laugh a lot, but we're pretty good at keeping it to between takes or at the end of a take. Okay. We're doing a take and then Mekki improvises some line and we just have to hold it for just a little bit until they call cut and then we can break. But part of it, our show shoots really, really fast for a television show. And we also just we want to be efficient with our time because we're trying to get our crew members home to their families. You know what I mean? We're trying to get everybody out of there. So as much fun as we have and as many funny people as we have on the set, I think you'd be surprised how efficient we are, how efficient we're able to be.
Absolutely. And then, last question too, it's all storytelling at the end of the day. And you have an amazing body of work where you've played different characters, but also you've you've dove into different worlds, but you also played really different characters. I'm wondering how separate are past projects for you versus something like this, mindset or preparation wise. Do you bring mindsets, ideas, preparations from something like Krampus, for example, to something like this, or are they completely separate once you wrap them? Krampus is one of my favorite movies of all time. That's why I wanted to say that.
Oh, thank you.
Every Christmas and Halloween, I watch it. No shelf life.
I know, it's perfect. It's October through December. It's perfect. Yeah, I mean, I think that every actor has different methods of preparation. And it's certainly different. Something like Krampus, where you're shooting a film, is very different than television. In film, you have the project ahead of time. You know exactly what the script's going to be. You've spent sometimes months with the script before you shoot. In television, I'm lucky if I have 3 days with a script before I shoot. So we'll usually read a script on a Wednesday and we start shooting it by the following Monday. So that sort of prep time is just not there. But I also find that I don't need as much prep time beyond the first couple episodes with a character. Then I feel like I know her pretty well and I can kind of just hit the ground running and play her pretty quickly.
Absolutely. You do such an amazing job on the show. St. Denis Medical on NBC. Congrats on season 2 as well. We can't wait for that. Allison, so great chatting with you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.